Hey guys, welcome to my Date Mall series, and today we are visiting one of the earliest mall in USJ Subang Jaya, which is called the Summit Mall. I'm here right now on a weekday and it is almost 8 p.m. It's on dinner time, and just by looking at it, there's not many people here in this mall. And considering USJ Subang Jaya have lots of diverse demographic, which consists of the lower, middle and the upper class, and yet USJ Summit Mall is struggling for foot traffic. Since day one until today in 2024, it is still struggling. This mall have went through a few phases of remodeling, or more or less a facelift, but yet it still failed to attract the foot traffic that it needed so much. Concept and design wise is very old-fashioned for today's standard. Back then when it was launched, I also feel that there is certain section, especially on the first and second floor, which you are going to see later in the video, that is a little bit outdated even during its inception. Bear in mind, right now I'm on the ground floor. If I'm not mistaken, USJ Summit Mall was launched in the early 2000. Back then, this is the only mall which existed in the entire USJ, but yet it still failed to live up to its supposedly expectation. This AI Home used to be Old Town Cafe, and they have been a steady tenant on this corner frontage for a very long time until they closed down, I think, during the pandemic. This is a new section, which is a food network. If you're coming from the main entrance, it's on your left. However, if you are coming up from the basement car park, it is very likely you're going to miss this section. Right now it's about 8 p.m, which is dinner time. Even on the food section, there's barely any soul around here. This stall used to be a Nike, and they decided to close down also during the pandemic. The main attraction for USJ Summit Mall will be on the lower ground where there is NSK, and of course the top floor, which they host the cinema and also the bowling alley. For those who don't know, I have been a resident in USJ Subang Jaya for over 20 years, and this was one of the first mall that I visited since I relocated from PJ to USJ. So in the early days of my life, after I get married, I bought a property here, which is in USJ too. And yes, surprise, it is directly opposite the USJ Summit Mall. By right, I should patron this mall quite frequently. This is very near to where I used to stay. But to be frank with you, I did not. Most of my time, I would rather go to the nearest mall, and much better, which is the Sunway Pyramid. USJ Summit Mall still hosts a few good anchor tenants. You can see there's Home Pro, you have NSK, and then you have the GSC Cinema, and not to mention Mr. DIY as one of these core tenants. So they have a few heavyweight anchor premium tenants. Hey guys, I'd like to know, have you heard of USJ Summit Mall? Write in the comments down below. And also, if you're residents of Subang Jaya, have you frequently patroned to this mall at least once or twice a year? And if you don't, also please comment down below. Would you consider visiting this mall in the near future? Do share your thoughts and experience below so that we can have a short discussion. I'm going to take you to the upper floor first, and the last floor will be the lower ground. As you can see, on the first floor, there are more retailers that are no longer operating. Just look at it. Even just next to Mr. DIY, there are barely any foot traffic except for the workers. On the ground floor, there is about 70% occupancy. However, on the first floor, the occupancy rate has dropped drastically. Just based on the short tour, I believe is around 50% occupancy, which is bad. Now remember, earlier in the video I mentioned that the design of USJ Summit is a bit old-fashioned during even its early conception. This is what I'm talking about. It has a very hidden narrow alley, just like some of the older date malls which I have reviewed. So this is one of the major design flaws which I think contributed to the downfall of USJ Summit Mall. So there's one more thing that I would like to highlight, is that each individual retail outlets here are owned by individual owners. In short, each of these individual retailer owners can lease or rent out their retail lots to pretty much any Tom, Dick and Harry, which will lead to even further downfall of this mall foot traffic. And due to that, there is no central management, so the retailers can open as they please and close as they please during any day and during any time. That, my friend, will lose the mall's attractiveness to those typical mall dwellers. And also guys, if you like this sort of video, don't forget to click the like button, and not to mention to click on to the bell icon so that you won't miss all my future uploads. And if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing to my channel, as I'm doing this on my free time, and I hope with your support I could gather more subscription so that I can reach 20,000 subscribers by the end of this year. With your support, I believe we can do it together. So let's go up to the second floor. Well guys, this is the center of the mall on the second floor. As you can see, the entire retail space in this mall is closed, and those who are open for business, they are also closed because again there's no central management. As I take you guys walk to the side alley of the USJ Summit Mall, as you can see, the concept of this sort of design will automatically fail in the modern days. This mall, in my honest opinion, need a major refurbishment in terms of the retail layout. To be perfectly upfront, they have to get a new owner to do that because it is not cheap to refurbish such a big mall. On the second floor, however, they have this FunX World. I've never been inside there personally, but I think this is something quite different. Maybe this type of mall attract this type of tenants. In my earlier video, if you want to watch, also in USJ, which is the Plaza 19 Mall, that mall has an indoor zoo. If you don't believe me, you go and check that video out, which I recorded a couple weeks back, and take a look for yourself. The second floor occupancy is much worse compared to the ground and the first floor. Here on the second floor, it is almost deserted. Well, approximately 20 to 30% max of the retail are open for business. Right here now, I'm alone in this quiet alley. I wouldn't suggest you guys to walk alone yourself. If you want to just have an experience, maybe bring a friend or two friends if you decide to walk this alley and check out the dead part of this mall. USJ Summit has a severe traffic issue. It's not that bad, but the problem is the traffic for USJ Summit. This section of the road, Persiaran Kewajiban, is extremely heavy in terms of traffic. It was even worse back then during the days where there is no LRT. Now it has improved because of two things: the LRTs, and they removed the traffic light right in front of the former Segi College building. That has eased up most of the traffic. However, because of bad reputation, bad history, people are avoiding USJ Summit Mall. The perception is people getting is, if you want to get to USJ Summit, you have to pretty much jam yourself on the traffic just to get to this mall. That's one of the reasons people are avoiding in the early days, and of course that leads to today. People still maintain the mindset and perception that USJ Summit is extremely jammed. I can tell you upfront, it's not that bad anymore, but however, if they could improve the traffic slightly 30 to 50%, I mean that is a lot, but I believe it could help this mall to relieve the perception that this mall is extremely difficult to get to due to the heavy traffic. As for public transportation is concerned, they are quite good because there's a BRT stop and there's an interchange for the LRT as well. Actually, in that sense, it's not that bad. Let's go up to the third floor. Well, there is an International Medical College here. Besides that, there are almost dead except for the Ampang Super Bowl. Back in the early days of USJ Summit Mall, I used to patron here for two things and two things only. And maybe on occasionally, I go to the Giant for groceries, but now they have moved out and replaced with NSK. So the two things I come here for was for the bowling and for the cinema. Other than that, I don't come here to do other things. Earlier video which I mentioned, you will know that I cannot play any physical sports anymore due to my back injury. So in a sense, I don't bowl anymore, and on top of that, I don't go to cinema to watch any movie. Back in those days when I was younger, I sometimes go to cinema, but now not really, as you can watch most of the movies online. On the third floor is still the same story. Besides the two main anchor tenants, which is the bowling center and also the college that taken up certain a portion, the retail outlets here are pretty much barren. As you can see in the video, it is approximately 80% vacant. The GSC cinema is now on the 4th floor, but they used to be on this level. Back then, these retail shops are all fully occupied with selling small food merchandise, junk foods whatsoever. Well, basically to sell to cinema patrons. And just because GSC cinema relocated from the 3rd floor to 4th floor, the entire 3rd floor retail are all dead. Now let's go to the 4th floor. Well, upon landing, I can see there are some changes. You can see all the blue walls. There used to be a church here, I remember, and now they are gone. And this is a sad state of GSC cinema. there are barely anybody here, and if they don't get the foot traffic that they want to, I believe they are going to close as well in a matter of months. So for those Subang Jaya residents, do lend your support to Submit USJ Mall GSC Cinema if you want them to stay open. Otherwise, GSC will pack their bags up and leave, and you will never see them here again. If you don't believe me, just watch my 3 Damansara Date Mall video. GSC Cinema left 3 Damansara Mall. This is something new. I have never come to this part of USJ Summit before. I'm not sure what they do. It's something like an X Factor golf. Well, if you are into golf, please write in the comments down below. Tell me what this is all about, as I don't play golf since it's quite physical and it will hurt my back very badly if I do. And towards this end, we have a huge basketball court, which is interesting. I barely come up to this level, to be upfront with you guys. So this is my first time here, even though I've been staying in USJ for over 20 years. It's kind of laughable. On the lower ground floor, as usual, most of the retail outlets here are F&B, and even so, they are not doing well. And even that half of the retail space on the lower ground are vacant. So as you guys can see in this video, even on the dinner time, there is barely anybody here on the lower ground. As for the lower ground, the main retail anchor will be the NSK grocer. I remember somebody tell me in the comments below, if you see NSK in the mall, it's likely the mall is dying or dead. I don't know if that is true or false, but I do in a sense agree a certain way. That is one of the indication. Tell me in the comments down below if you agree or disagree. For those who patron USJ Summit Mall before, the Cafe Rumah was once McDonald's, and they have been operating there for a very long time until the lockdown happens, and after that they couldn't recover and they left USJ Summit. So you see, even McDonald's can go bust in USJ Summit Mall. So for those who are aware, USJ Summit is actually directly next to a more modern mall which is called Taman. I will do a video and give you my personal opinion about that mall in soonest time. Don't worry guys, I will get to that mall. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, again I'd like to ask you to consider smashing the like button and also click the bell notification icon so that you won't miss my future uploads. If you are new or you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing, as I want to grow this channel so I can continue to make more of these videos for you guys to view. My name is Chester Cheng. I'll see you guys in my next video. Cheers guys!